In this lesson, we'll work on a few final touch-ups to the puddles we added around our runner, which will end up making our image stronger. Alright, so at this point, we just created these puddles down near the bottom of my screen. And, we've got all this water that's really just kind of falling off our runner, and it's hitting these puddles. And what I'd like to do is, I'd like to end up coming and maybe putting in some splashes here. So now we could do that really pretty easily. We'll just come in here and enable my pressure sensitivity, and I'm just simply going to, maybe we'll do this on a couple of them here. I want to use my paint overlayer that we used earlier in this course, and we'll just come in and maybe sample some of these colors from the water themselves, maybe some of these bright colors here. I'll shrink my brush down nice and small, and let's come in here and just kind of work on placement of these splashes. Let me actually drop the opacity and flow down just a little bit here, so I'm not painting quite so fast and heavy. All right, so we've got the splash coming in, kind of working its way to the left, and I'm going to kind of pull in sort of a crowning area right there. But maybe we come in here and maybe sample one of these darker colors. Start to sort of hit the base of that just a little bit. Now we might want to zoom in some. Grab a kind of a little more of a medium valued color. Now obviously we don't need to get too detailed with these, but you can see here that that's all we really need, that kind of effect right there, to make it appear that some of this water is actually hitting these puddles. So maybe we have a splash there. Maybe there's a little bit of a splash on, another one over here. I would probably not go too far in doing this. This is something that if it's in every puddle, then it's going to look kind of funny. So maybe just come over and do it on just a few of them. Sort of like that. And just kind of, if you need some reference for this, maybe pull up on an internet image search some images of water drops striking things, like rain hitting the ground, and what that exactly might look like. So I like to bring my strokes in towards the puddle. That way it's thinner out here. Something like that. I always like to come in and put that little dark spot there. If we really wanted to be meticulous about this, we could come in and actually come in and do some like little ripples in the puddles themselves, depending on how much water is collecting there. But again, that's such a small detail, it's probably not worth our time to do that. So we won't mess with that today. Just kind of zooming out and taking a look at this. Now, obviously, if we're coming in and painting in these puddles, then we probably are going to want to maybe adjust some of the splashes that are coming off, maybe bring it a little further down onto the road. But we'll work on that here in just a moment. So we'll just come in and bring one down right here. I'm actually going to lasso that up and move it over here. And sort of like that. Just kind of make this nice crown type shape right here. Something like that should work pretty well. Constantly just sampling the existing colors that exist, or the existing colors in our image. If we need to, we can come in with our eraser, kind of chisel some of that away. All right, that's looking pretty good. Before we move up to the water droplets up top, let's go ahead and maybe think about the highlights that's on this water. Now we've got a pretty solid base with our bevel and emboss layer style that we used. Let's come in here though and maybe consider coming in with this bright white color and a really small brush. We'll turn that pressure sensitive opacity off, and I'm going to take this down to something like, maybe let's try 3 pixels here. Maybe we could come in and, actually let's come up a little bit, kind of do sort of an edge highlight on some of these puddles, giving them a little bit more form. I'm not doing it on every single edge, just edges that are really close to the light source. Maybe we actually sample a color from the sky and do this, so we bring in a little bit more of that color. And again, we're still working on our paint over layer, so we're not making any changes to the bevel and emboss layer at all. Just continue to come in and sort of paint in some of these rim lights, rim highlights. Of course, this is assuming that the water isn't completely flat on the ground, which in most cases water is, but we're going to assume that this is all water that's just hit the ground. So that's going to just give it a little bit more form, and I think that's looking pretty good. So with that done, let's go jump over here to our splashes, and let's begin kind of isolating some of these. You can see that I've got quite a few different layers with splashes on them. Maybe we come over to this layer right here, and we just use our lasso tool, and we start to bring some of these down. Maybe these two right here. This one here. Come and get some of these over here. That's actually on a different layer, it looks like. There we are. And we could come over here and do the same thing on the opposite side. Just kind of spread some of these droplets out a little bit more down onto the ground so that it does indeed look like they're falling. So with that done, I think that we've pretty much reached the end of this image. I'm really liking the end result here. I think that it ended up looking really nice. So now, if we were doing this photo manipulation for an advertisement, more than likely there's going to be some type of logo or type or some kind of text that reads on this ad. So let's go ahead and wrap this course up in the next lesson, and we'll go ahead and create a logo and just add some type here that looks like it fits nice and neatly with this image.